coming to you from the home of the mini trees, inspirational, motivational, so come along with us.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Pixel Talk. This week's edition brings you an interview with Ms. Pat Wadors, the Chief Human Resource Officer at LinkedIn. Also, we have a really special student segment this time. Peyton Robertson interviews Quinn Muller, a freshman at Stanford Online High School, about an award-winning documentary Quinn created. Hello, my name is Tej Singh and I'm broadcasting from New Jersey on behalf of Stanford Online High School students from around the globe. So, hello world. With us here today is Ms. Pat Wadors. She's the Senior Vice President of Global Talent Organization at LinkedIn. It's glad to have you here, Ms. Wadors. How are you this morning?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on the show. So our first question is just recruiting in general is like such a big challenge of Silicon Valley. Like there's so many tech companies like Facebook and Google. So how does LinkedIn differentiate itself to attract some of the best talent in the US?
I think each of the tech organizations really do a great job at differentiating themselves based on the purpose of what they provide to the world. So for us, it's creating opportunities for people around the world to achieve their visions professionally, right? And so if we're helping them close their skill gap, if we're helping them find a gig, if we're helping them volunteer, be on a board, that is our purpose, and it's a unique purpose. And so we sell that to our candidates, and we create an amazing hiring process and an onboarding process that makes them feel welcome.
Yes, certainly some of it want to differentiate itself from like Facebook and Twitter. So
Yes.
I'm assuming that lots of the jobs at LinkedIn must be related to programming and tech, and in general, just in the world, there's been a huge push for STEM jobs and coding. So how do you suggest students who want to get into this field and maybe work for LinkedIn one day, how do they get started in this?
Start early. Explore with the sciences and the math and the computer programming. Middle school isn't too early. I mean, go to summer camps. There's a summer camp actually at Stanford that you can go and learn to code. There are coding programs. We've been encouraging universities for even liberal arts students to teach them a bit of coding, because I think technology and understanding the digital workforce and how technology is changing how we do our work is relevant, and we all should learn. I think that if you want to get into, computer science, it is a huge demand. And for women in particularly, their rate of graduation actually has reduced in the last 2 decades. It used to be 35% graduation of women. We're down to 18%. So we have to change that tide. We need more diversity in technology. And so a lot of my peer companies are looking at women in tech, encouraging them to take the math and the sciences and to take these coding programs and not lose sight of it while in university.
Yeah, and certainly there's been a huge push for minorities also, diversity. So now that we got those questions over with, let's move to the fun segment. Everyone likes this. So since this is mainly for high school audiences, what did you do in high school? Any interesting stories that can motivate the current generation to work hard? How did you get into this field? Story time always gets us lots of viewership.
So funny enough, I have dyslexia, so I was not a very good academic student in a traditional sense. I struggled with math and reading, but knew that I could solve problems. I knew I could debate, and so I flourished in programs and classes that allowed me to debate and look at case studies, etc. But what I learned in high school is to leverage your strengths, and created a great relationship with my teachers, great relationship with my peers, and was not afraid to ask for help. So those were life skills that took me on into university. And I realized when I went to university that my passion in life is art, but my art was not a business, because if I liked you, I'd give you my pieces. And if I didn't like you, I wouldn't sell it. My family was worried about that business model, didn't work. And when I went to the Career Center, it said I would like social work, teaching, human resources, and I interviewed people that do what I do at the time. So I was very forward thinking, going, all right, let me know if it's a great gig or not, if I'd like it every day. And I found out that 80% of a company's operational expenses is related to their talent. So what they pay their employees, how they train them, the tools we use, the computer I'm using to have this call today, all is provided by my company. And so HR, what I do, is very, very relevant to the success and profitability of a company. And so to do it right means great profitability, good margin, a way to invest and stay competitive. And if you don't handle this talent segment well, the company won't succeed. And so I was able to use all my social skills I developed in high school, learning how to survive and thrive and build relationships into high school, college, and now in my career. And I'm loving it. I love what I do every day.
Yeah, sure thing. They say Einstein was dyslexic. Look where he turned out. And also you said start young, so you found what you want to do and start young. So what are some cool things of working at such a high position? Do you get a free premium account, or do you meet amazing people, or even just working at LinkedIn? You know, this stuff seems exciting.
So yeah, I get a free premium account, so I get to geek out on a lot of the beta testing also. So I'm customer zero, good and bad. So I get all the bugs if we're trying something out, but at the same time, it's kind of fascinating for me. I get to travel around the world. About 30% of my time is with customers. So I get to geek out with Burberry. Last summer, I went into their design office in London and saw the designers in next season's fashion and figure out how they motivate and attract them. I went to Wall Street. I've been to investment bankers and their talent strategies. I went to the oil industry. So I get to see everything in such a cool way. I think that's one of the things that LinkedIn provides me, is this view out in the world that I can bring back and leverage inside of LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's amazing, the power of technology. So moving on to our lighthearted segment, if you could spend a day with any person living today other than from your family, who would it be?
Ooh, who would it be? That's a tough one. I think I might want to spend a day with Ariana Huffington, because she's all about wellness and thriving and being an authentic human being, and gets to meet a lot of interesting people and get a personal connection. So I think like being a voyeur and kind of looking at what that looks like during a normal day with her would be fascinating. The conversations, the degree of difference between the morning dialogue with the CEO and the afternoon with Oprah. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, certainly an interesting person, you know, what she's done. So, next question, what's the most exciting thing on your bucket list?
Most exciting thing on my bucket list. So I think I'm realizing it now. I've started to write and blog in the last year, funny enough, and I'm also an introvert. So as an introvert, you're typically not a blogger per se, and I've taken it up and found it to have been a great resource for me and a great way for me to teach others, which I love to do. And I've been published recently on Harvard Business Review several times. I've been invited to speak at several universities. I'm speaking at Stanford soon, Berkeley, UCLA, USC. Just by writing, I've been giving this great gift. So in my bucket list, it's exploring how to expand that voice.
Yeah, before the interview, I was thinking maybe it would have been traveling, but it looks like, you know, LinkedIn has given you that. So,
yeah, travel I'm doing.
Does it ever get boring traveling, or is it like, do you get frequent flyer miles, you get upgrades, or is that?
I don't get the frequent flyer mileage. What I do is that when you're traveling, it can get a grind, right? It wears on your soul if you just fly in, do a meeting, and fly out. And so I live to make memories. I think that's a shame to go somewhere and meet someone without making a life memory, because it all blurs together. So the last, decade or so, I've been intentional. When I travel, I spend an evening or a morning exploring the country that I'm at, doing a show. Every time I go to London, I must see a show, a unique show. I must, when I go to Venice, listen to music, live music somewhere. So I pick something so unique to culture and location. I bring friends, people I've met in country with me on the journey to make it more local. It's been a lot of fun. So I make memories every trip.
And I think to make the flying easier, LinkedIn should give you a private jet, right? Wouldn't that make it?
Yeah, that would be nice, but they're not going to do that.
So it's a tradition of Pixel Talk to end these interviews with a short, lighthearted segment we call This or That. As a series of fun questions we've provided its guests, and you have two options to choose from. So would you be willing to participate?
Yes.
So first one, Taylor Swift or Kanye West? After
Oh, Taylor. Hands down, Taylor.
CEO of, if you could be the CEO of any company other than LinkedIn, what would it be?
I I think CEO of Thrive, Ariana Huffington's company that she's launching. I think the CEO of The Quiet Revolution that Susan Cain has launched. Those would be interesting companies.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them. Must be obviously interesting and, progressive. So I think this is might be hard for you to answer because you've already been to so many places, but 3 places you would want to visit?
I want to go back to Israel. I love Israel. The food, the people are amazing. I would love to spend time in Rome. I don't get to do that. And I would love to spend a winter during Christmas in the Alps.
Is there any place that you want to go to, but your job hasn't taken you there yet?
Russia. I haven't been to the Alps yet. So those 2. I'd like to see Russia and the Alps.
Yeah. And so our next question is, would you rather have 1 wish granted today or 3 in 10 years?
3 in 10 years.
Would you rather be able to stop time or fly?
Fly.
Do you prefer online shopping or shopping in a store?
Depends on my mood.
Facebook or Twitter?
Twitter.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
And our last question, would you rather be able to read everyone's mind all the time or know their future?
Scary for both. For my job, I think I'd rather know what's on their mind.
So, an interesting answer. So this brings us to the end of Pixel Talk. We'd like to thank Ms. Wadors for graciously sparing her time here and inspiring not only the Stanford OHS community, but youth around the country and perhaps even around the world.
Thank you.
We're here with Quinn Muller, maker of the award-winning documentary Electric Africa. So, Quinn, what exactly made you turn this amazing experience you had in Africa with your dad into a film to raise awareness about the different initiatives to provide electricity to Africa?
Yeah, so it started out not as a film, especially not a documentary, but more as just like an opportunity to use a drone. And my dad had kind of discovered the drone scene before we left, and he thought it was really cool. He thought we should get one, it'd be so cool to bring a drone to Africa. So I'd been going to a project-based learning school during the time, and they didn't have a drone. I thought they should totally have a drone because they get a lot of use out of it. So I created a fundraiser within that community to raise the money for the drone. We ended up getting a Phantom 2 Vision Plus, which is a DJI product, quadcopter. And so we raised the money in like 24 hours and we brought it to Africa. The plan was after that trip, I'd bring it back and show the kids at the school how to use it. And so we brought it to Africa and I started taking video and photos, and it was really cool. And during that time, I thought it'd be kind of cool to make a movie. And it started out as just a reel of our experience there. And then I thought it'd be even cooler to show what the company was doing and the process that they took to, accomplish, providing solar energy to people in Africa. And so I started taking video on the ground with a DSLR. And I didn't fully edit it into Electric Africa during that trip. I did start editing it though. And I really fell in love with the editing process. But it was really just this last year where our friend who's into drones decided to start a film festival for drone-based movies. And he thought he knew I was into drones too. He knew I filmed this movie in Africa, but it wasn't a fully edited movie at that point. So when he came out with this festival idea, I'm like, well, I should totally kind of polish this up around the edges and submit it. And so there was several categories, and the kind of one of the tips on the website was have your films make a narrative for your films. That's better if they have a story. And so instead of just kind of making a reel of the footage that I got there, I decided to kind of make a documentary of Off-Grid Electric and what they're doing there. And so I edited it in like 2 weeks. Spent like a lot of time in my room just working on that. And came together pretty well.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Quinn, for doing this, and we hope you have a great filmmaking career at OHS and beyond. Thanks so much.
Sure, thank you.
The summer before 7th grade, my dad came to me and asked if I wanted to go on an adventure. I asked him where. He said Africa. And I mean, how could I turn that down? We flew into Africa for our first time ever, specifically Tanzania, and it left an impression. My dad had been asked to check out a company providing affordable solar energy for homes in East Africa. I tagged along because I wanted to explore the incredible diverse culture of Tanzania and document our experience with my handy-dandy drone, thanks to the awesome people who supported my crowdfund. I was struck with awe by the beautiful vistas, impossibly blue oceans, and fascinating people who live life to its fullest. At the beginning of our stay, we went to a large village right outside Moshi, a small city below Kilimanjaro. The locals here live simply, close to the land. They have what they need: food, water, shelter, and a caring community. That doesn't mean that they don't want more for their families: a healthier environment, better education, and more options in life. They work hard and they deserve much more than what they have. Despite dysfunctional governments and failed international projects to extend the electrical grid, people still rely mostly on kerosene, which is terribly unhealthy, unsafe, and unsustainable for families and the environment. But this is changing. An energy revolution is beginning to sweep across regions like this, giving clean, affordable energy straight from the sun to people's rooftops, whether those rooftops are made of mud, sugarcane, or corrugated aluminum. Off-Grid Electric is one of the leading solar companies in Africa. Not only is Off-Grid providing a product, but a reliable service that is giving customers a better experience and opening up tons of job opportunities for locals. When I was shooting this movie, Off-Grid was only providing lights and phone chargers as appliances. Now they have radios and small TVs, so Africans can get a glimpse into what's happening in the rest of the world. These are two of their several offices in East Africa. This is in Moshi, and this one's in Arusha, the place we stayed when my dad and I were here together. These offices are where the business operations happen, the prepping of solar units, and they are the pit stops for service agents. The business operations is where the magic happens. The company discusses challenges, receives calls from customers, and does many more things behind the curtain.
Trying to figure out how to structure service, how to help light riders, how the call center can forward information to regions on time so that we can get closer and closer to our goal of being able to not let the lights go out for our customers, right?
Here, Sina is running a training session for new recruits. The company hires over 40 new Tanzanians every month. While the solar systems are made in China, the company sometimes has to change out the motherboards and wiring inside for newer technology. This is mostly done in the workshop, which is a subunit on the office property. Once this is all done and the units are put back together, they are all boxed up in the warehouse with a lot of tape. The solar panels, batteries, and appliances are either driven off in bulk to another location or brought out individually by service agents and bikes to be installed in homes. These agents will sometimes ride way out into rural areas or just to the edges of the city, depending on how far they have to go to install the systems. All the service agents are native Africans. When the agents make it to their destination, they'll explain to the customers how to use the system and to dust off the panel every once in a while. Then they'll fasten it to the roof at an angle ideal for capturing maximum sunlight. Once the control box/battery is attached to the wall within the home and wired up to the panel, they'll connect the other appliances. While I was here, I actually got to help install a panel firsthand. That was pretty cool. What Off-Grid Electric has set out to do is a large feat, and drones can help by delivering systems to hard-to-reach places, troubleshooting solar panels from the sky, and, if you want to think imaginatively, maybe even in the near future clean the panels from the roofs. This is important. It's allowing these kids to read at night, to stay healthier, and teaching them that they have power in life. Pun intended. It's bigger than just solar, though. One thing I realized during this trip is that we're all connected in so many ways. We need to reach out to others, offer what we can, and work together. If it's with people in cities like Moshi or rural villages, we're all intertwined as a species, and we need to embrace that. While drones can help, the answer doesn't lie in technology. No, the answer lies in finding the heart to look beyond our own backyard to make a difference.
Thanks for watching. Until then. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome back to Pixel Talk. This week's edition. Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome back to Pixel Talk. This week's edition brings you an interview with Miss Pat Wadors.